Hello everyone. We are going to discuss about minimalism as part of arts, movement, and history. So what is minimalism, Jonathan?
Minimalism. Minimalism is an extreme form of abstract art developed in the USA in the 1960s and typified by artworks composed of simple geometric shapes based on the square and rectangle. Minimalism or minimalist art can be seen by us extending the abstract idea that art should have its own reality and not be an imitation of some other things. We usually think as art as representing as an aspect of the real world, a landscape, a person, or even a tin of soap, or reflecting an experience such as an emotion or feeling. With minimalism, no attempt is made to represent an outside reality. The artist wants the viewer to respond only to what is in front of them, the medium or material from which it is made, and the form of the work is the reality. Minimalist painter Frank Stella famously said about his paintings, "What you see is what you see." The development of minimalism. Minimalism emerged in the late 1950s when artists such as Frank Stella, whose black paintings were exhibited at the Museum of Modern Art in New York in 1959, began to turn away from the gestural art of the previous generation. It flourished in the 1960s and 1970s with Carl Andre, Dan Flavin, Donald Judd, Sol Lewitt, Agnes Martin, and Robert Morris becoming the movement's most important innovators. The development of minimalism is linked to that of the conceptual art, which also flourished in the 1960s and 1970s. Both movements challenge existing structures for making, disseminating, and viewing art and argued that the importance given to the art object is misplaced and leads to a rigid and elitist art with which only privileged few can afford to enjoy. Minimalism art representation in styles and media. Minimalist art is represented in different styles, ranging from visual art, sculpture, interior design, installation, and architecture. So first we will discuss visual art. Visual art or painting has gone through hundreds of years of representation. But when it comes to minimalism, about paintings, you will notice a world of flat two-dimensionality and geometric shapes, as if a three-dimensional object has been flattened onto the canvas. Often, these paintings are simply in their color schemes, but they create the illusion of depth and space, which in turn creates a new representation of art. You would want to assume there is a meaning to the composition, but this would come entirely from your own preconceived ideas of art. We have example Man in the Night by Viscard Wasco. Next, we have the sculpture. Minimalist sculpture is a large part of this movement, and the three-dimensionality of the objects are good examples of what this movement is all about. Primarily, characteristics of this is about the objects are simple and completely fundamental in their shapes. For example, a cube is a cube, and minimalist artists sought to depict the object purely as the object was, and not give it any other meaning. Additionally, the artist played with the notion of how the onlooker would view the object in terms of its parts and how this make up the whole. Based on the example, we can see a rectangular or rather cube, and most likely it is a cube. Next is the interior design. Because minimalist art is versatile and follows simplicity of form and color, it can add to the ambience of space, making it either frontal or more edgy, depending on the use of color and shapes. Most minimalist sculpture have clear, clean, and smooth lines, edges, and textures, which can equally complement of other works of art in an interior space. As you can see, guys, this is an example of an interior design with minimalist design. Next, installations Installations in minimalist art can be seen primarily in the form of light installations, where artists play with how light affects the space in it is. Using fluorescent light tubes, artists would place emphasis on the light more than the tube itself to create an effect. Artist Dan Flavin used this technique in his series titled Icons in 1961, composed of shallow boxes with fluorescent light tubes along the sides and edges. Architecture. Minimalism also applied to architecture and as previously stated was influenced by movement like the Stige, which focused on using straight vertical and horizontal lines which were as simple as possible in form and shape. Whether this was painting or architecture, thus minimalist art follows the ideas we see from this stage. Among others, minimalist architecture seek to exclude all elements on building that seem extra, and remaining purely with only the essential elements that make the structure and give it its quality. Based on the example, kaya makita nyo guys na simple lang di design na pero nag-night din. Next, the
Next is
artist and their
the
artworks.
next is the artist and their artworks. Next, Carl Andre was an American minimalist artist recognized for his ordered, linear, and grid format sculptures. His sculptures range from large public artworks, such as Stonefield sculpture uh, and the Lament for the Children. And this is the artworks or the types of art of Carl Andre. Next, Dan Flavin was an American minimalist artist famous for creating sculptural objects and installations from commercially available fluorescent light fixtures. And this is the works of Dan Flavin. Uh, Commonly or most of his works is about lights. Next, next is Donald Judd. Donald Clarence Judd was an American artist associated with minimalism. In his work, Judd sought autonomy and clarity for the constructed object and the space created by it, ultimately achieving a rigorously democratic presentation without compositional hierarchy. He is generally considered the leading international exponent of minimalism and its most important theoretician through such writings as specific objects. And this is works of Donald Judd. Next. Another artist is Sol Lewitt. Lewitt has been a notable artist not only in the minimalist art movement, but also in conceptual art. Although he is known for his paintings, his sculptures and installations have dominated the art space, literally and figuratively. His structures vary in size and shape, although his influence comes from the shape of a cube, which is easily noticed when viewing his works. And these are the works of Sol Lewitt. Next, uh, another artist is Frank Stella. Frank Philip Stella was an American painter, sculptor, and printmaker noted for his work in the areas of minimalism and post-painterly abstraction. Stella's work catalyzed the minimalist movement in the late 1950s. These are his works, famous works. Next slide. Next slide is all about the qualities of minimalist art. Aesthetically, minimalist art offers a highly purified form of beauty. It can also be seen as representing such qualities as truth, because it does not pretend to be anything other than what it is: order, simplicity, and harmony. Next. Important concepts in minimalist art. One of the most important characteristics of minimalist art is that it is a revolt against the expressive and abstract nature of expressionist art. Some even refer to it as rebellious in nature as it aims to completely convey the most simple and fundamental meanings of colors and shapes. In other words, it does not intend to make any other meaning other than just what is seen with the eye. There is no metaphor or higher meaning to the art or design. And these are the references. Uh, Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe
But,
in our YouTube channel.
and
I am Aclaus Cariaga and my partner is
I
Jonathan
am
Pato.
Jonathan Pato.
Yes, thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.